So after many hours of running through as many free plugins as I could find, I'm pretty sure that I got a really solid version 2 list of the best free VST plugins that I can find. I'm gonna be running through these in FL, but all of these VSTs come in multiple forms like AU and stuff like that, and I'm pretty sure you can use them in any DAW that you work in. I could make videos on free VST plugins and show you guys a bunch of free synths and stuff like that, but I really want to give you guys a collection of plugins that are gonna make your beats better overall and not just give you a ton of presets to use for making melodies and stuff like that. So I hope by giving you guys a mixture of effects like reverbs and delays, compressors, not only for individual channels or buses, but for your master, limiters, stuff like that that you can use, that your beats as a whole are gonna get better and you're not just gonna download a ton of synths. So I had an old beat and I wasn't really crazy about the synth sound in it. So I went back in it, and the first plugin I'm gonna be going through just swapped out some sounds with it. Plugin's called Zebra Lite. It's like a light version of the plugin called Zebra 2, which is really my favorite synth. It's by a company called U-Heat, and this is a company that Hans Zimmer, who does all the film score for Batman movies, exclusively uses. So if he's using it, it's pretty solid. Comes with a ton of presets, and the sound quality in these synths from U-Heat is like second to none. I'm just gonna throw this pattern through it, maybe tweak the preset a little bit, but definitely go download it. I'm gonna leave the link in the description for all these so that you guys can download them and check them out and see what you think about them. So in addition to just the preset, I just ran it through a couple effects within Glitch 2 if you're wondering why it's acting all crazy and doing like the tape stop and stuff like that. So I just have a gator on it, which kind of acts like almost like a roll effect, and I have a re-trigger on it, once again to act like a roll effect, and then at the end we just have a tape stop, so you can just see these effects play out. If you click away from this modulation tab to the effects, you can see it as a phaser effect. I'm cool with that. That sounds pretty good on the sound. And then there's a delay. So if you listen to, I'll solo this. If you listen to when I quit playing the signal, it's gonna keep delaying. If I turn this mix knob all the way down, okay, so I got rid of the delay. So obviously now that we removed the effects, the sound's gonna sound a lot more small, narrow, but it's gonna allow me to send it to an effect channel, whether it's a delay or reverb or whatever I want, and just have a lot more control over it. So I'm gonna go ahead and send this to a quarter note delay just by clicking down here. And that's gonna bring us to the next plugin on the list, which is the Valhalla frequency echo. So this is a really, really cool delay. You can do this with different delays using different plugins after it in your chain, but I've never really seen a delay that lets you mess with the frequencies as much as this one does. I'm gonna click to unlink the main signal from our master so that we can hear just what this frequency echo is doing. So first of all, if you have something on an aux send channel, you're gonna wanna make sure that the mix is 100% wet. We can mess with all this other stuff. So this delay sync right here, you can either set it in milliseconds, or I'd advise just setting it by clicking this, whether you want an eighth note delay, a quarter note delay. I'm gonna just stay with the quarter note, see how that sounds. Feedback, we'll leave it 50. I really like that you can make a high and a low cut for the delay signal within this, so I'll turn this up right now so we're not cutting out too much highs, and we might bring that back down. So let's see how this delay sounds just soloed. Let's try an eighth note delay. Link the original signal back to the master so now we can hear it with the effect. So that's with the effect, here's without. Really nice delay effect. Definitely check that out. Like I said, all these links will be in the description. So the next thing I did was load up another synth that's on this list. It's called Podolski. I think that's how you say it. It's by the same makers. It's by Yuhi, who makes Zebra 2, who makes Zebra Lite that we just went over. Another awesome synth I'll leave the link below for. All I did with this one, rather than sending it through those glitch effects, I sent it to a shaper box, or like a half speed type effect. Ran it through some filters and came up with this pattern. So these would be the two synth patterns playing together. So again, I'm gonna go in here, and on this synth, it looks like I can just turn off the delays by turning everything down here, because I know that I'm gonna wanna send this to the same delay that we just set up. So I'm gonna click here to send this to the 8th note. You can instantly hear how much space it fills out. This is going to bring us to our next plugin, which is Ozone Imager. And to me, this synth is just like really mono and down the middle. So I'm going to throw this Ozone Imager on, and this is a really, really simple plugin. There's different ways to monitor this. I kind of like this polar level. This is a lot going on to me. It's just more simple visual for me. So if I want to make this sound wider, I could just turn this up. Or if you wanted to make it more narrow, like something like a low end sound, like 808 or a kick, that's just going to send it right back down the middle. So I'm going to make it a little bit wider. Okay, so the next thing that I'm gonna do, because it really just sounds like it's pretty low end heavy, rather than EQing this to get more high end out of this, I'm gonna send this to a reverb channel, and this is gonna bring us to our next plugin, which is this TDR Reverb 2. I love this reverb. It kind of sounds like a vintage reverb. Lexicon 224 is my favorite reverb, and it kind of reminds me of it. So like any send channel, once again, you're gonna wanna have no dry and all wet. So I'm gonna unlink our original signal from the master just so that you guys can hear this reverb soloed. I'm gonna mute the delay too. So we'll just tweak our reverb to get it sounding right. Like I said, I just want like some high end out of this reverb and just some like atmosphere from it. It's really nice. They got built-in controls right here, how much high you want and what you want that frequency to be. So my high frequency, let's try like 5K. Turn down the lows a little bit. You can mess with the stereo imaging of it right in here, which is really nice. I might end up adding an ozone in here. Room size, which really would just give you a feel how big your delay is. Pre-delay, how long do you want to wait before that delay kicks in? So I just turned this down to 350 Hertz and said that's where I want to have my low cut at. Okay, so if I link the original signal back, if I turn my delay back on, here's without any effects. Here's with our effects turned on. Let's turn on the other layer. And let's turn on everything. Okay, next. I threw it on my master, but you could definitely throw it on any channel you want. OTT compressor. I've seen a lot of producers using this that I look up to in the past, and I never really had a use for it. I prefer some other compressors because I didn't think this one was very in depth, but it's actually really nice and really simplified, and it actually has some features that I haven't seen in other compressors, so I definitely think it's going to come in handy for me in the future. So with any compressor you're working with, not only are you going to like limit and bring down the highest sound, at the same time, you're also going to bring up the lowest sound. This is one of the first compressors I've seen where you have an option to limit how much you're bringing up and how much you're bringing down. So it has here this upward and downward knobs. So I can tell it that I want it to compress to reduce the loudest signals, but don't touch the lowest signals. Don't bring those up at all. And that's a feature that you're not gonna find in like 95% of compressors. So it's pretty nice. And you guys are gonna see as soon as I turn this on my master, you can hear all that feedback, right? So if I solo that out and I figure it out, it was actually from my delay channels. So these Valhalla frequency echoes are giving off a little bit of like a white noise. It's not a problem until we turn the compressor on, because like I said, not only are you limiting your loudest signals, you're pulling up your lowest signals with the compressor. Okay, so obviously that sounds horrible. So if I turn this upward compression, or us pulling up our lowest signals down, it's gone. So already you can tell that that's really useful if you just want to limit the highest signals and you don't want to affect the lowest signals and bring those up. So I'm gonna just solo a bunch of my drums to let you guys see how you can kind of even out your stuff with this if you wanted to run like a drum bus or something like that through it. Kind of made me realize that my one perk loop's too loud and has too much low end in it. So definitely mess with that. You guys can throw it on drum buses, 808s, individual instruments, melodies, probably pretty much anything. I think it's a really versatile compressor and it'll definitely come in handy. So the last thing we're gonna talk about is this Max 1, and I'm kind of using this as a limiter on my master, but I'm really just using it to get gain out of it, and I'm using this fruity limiter to brick wall things to make sure that we don't clip zero, mainly because I just downloaded this and I really don't know how to make sure this thing doesn't clip, and I was definitely clipping with it, and that's the last thing I want to do is tell you guys to use something that's going to make you clip and not brick wall your beats. So I would say to throw a fruity limiter after it. I don't like getting gain out of a fruity limiter. I don't think it's very clean at all. So with this thing, I really wanted to find something that you guys can throw on your master bus to get gain and to just make your beats louder overall and to give you a clean master. So I just went to this preset, which is Beats Glue. I haven't tried Glue 2, but Glue is exactly what you're trying to do when you're compressing or limiting on your master. I always say you want to make sure you're not getting more than like 2, 3, or 4 max dB of gain out of any one thing on your master bus. You definitely don't want to be throwing a limiter or even this Max 1 or anything on your master and getting 5 to 10 dB of gain. It's just not going to be clean. Mix your beats loud. I would say mix your beats as close to 0 as possible, maybe between -6, -5, -3, somewhere like that. But if you mix your beats at like -10, -12 or real low, and then you try to boost up on your master, it's going to be a little bit harder. And a lot of times your mix is going to get out of proportion when you're getting all that gain on your master. So I'd say mix as close as you can to possible. -3 is a real safe area. And then something like this can help you just push it over. So we're just clearing -3 dB, almost at -2. So that's pretty much a perfect area to throw something on a master and to hit 0. So when I turn this Beats Glue preset on, you guys are immediately gonna hear that it's doing way too much. And that's because this preset has a threshold that's a lot higher than we need it to be because of where we're at -3 already. You're gonna be able to tell that because it shows you your gain reduction. When you're limiting and you're hitting your last step on a master, you never want to get more than like 1 to 3 max. I'd say probably even like 2 dB, 1.5 dB of gain reduction. So you guys are gonna see how much reduction we're getting. That's gonna make stuff just sound really squashed and compressed. So what I'm gonna do is lower this threshold until we're just getting a little bit of reduction. Okay, so I'm gonna just A/B this and show you guys with it on and with it off. And really we're only getting like 2 to 3 dB a gain, but it sounds like a hell of a lot more. definitely let me know what favorite plugins you guys have that are free so that we can continue to grow this bank of free plugins for everybody. And thank you guys for watching. Peace.